Hey guys, Shaman Daniel here. Today I want to share with you a story of somebody I helped some time ago, and I want to share her story because it's very unique. I've never encountered anything like it before or since. And what happened was this. One night, early evening, this woman called me up, and she was noticeably rattled. She was upset. And she started to explain to me that she's been living in this house for about 10 or 12 years, and on occasion, she would experience some sort of paranormal activity. Okay, what did she say? On one wall, she would see these bright red lights. On another wall, she would see this orb floating around. Sometimes she would hear noises in her attic. And she said it was all very random. And none of it ever upset her. She told me that she would be sleeping soundly, then something would wake her up, and then she'd hear or see something, and then go right back to sleep. Except the week before she called me. The week before she called me, she told me she started to feel something walking around on her bed at night as she was trying to go to sleep. Not only on her bed, but underneath her bed, pushing up on the bottom of the mattress. Well, you know what? That's enough to scare the crap out of anybody. Okay? So she wanted me to come to her home and do a house cleansing, a house blessing. And in that particular ceremony, I use sage, salt, holy water, Reiki, energy, prayers of banishment and protection. And I clear out, I banish all the old stale energy, dark entities that might be there. I invite in, guardian angels, entities of the light. Then I seal the place up. So she called because she wanted me to do that for her. And as she was talking during the consultation, she told me that on one night she was so afraid that she went to spend the night at an uncle's vacant condo that was about a mile away. But there, she felt the thing on her bed again. So, many times, friends, paranormal activity, it's connected to a place, okay? But when it comes to these demonic attachments, which is what that thing is, that was crawling around on her bed, that's called a demonic attachment. They are connected to people, okay? So in addition to doing the house cleansing, I was going to have to bring my table and do a shamanic healing session on her to cut the connection between that attachment and her. There are these rope-like things that are called soul ties or etheric cords. And what they do is they connect people to people or entities to people. And they they can look like silver thread, black thread, white thread. They can be black rope, white rope, and they can be very thin and delicate. Or they can be thick as a tree trunk and just as dense. Okay? And every combination in between. So, in addition to everything else I do during the shamanic healing session, I needed to do that for her as well. So we made an appointment about 2 weeks out, and I went out to her place, and I got all set up, and I wanted her to go in more depth about the paranormal activity. And that's what surprised me, okay? So she takes me into the bedroom, and she goes, okay, on this wall here, this is where I would see red laser lights. Sometimes it'd be a flat line. Sometimes it looked like a red rose. Sometimes a red dream catcher. Sometimes a speedometer with the needle moving. Now I know what you're thinking, because I was thinking the same thing. I said, did you ever look out the window when this was happening? Was somebody shining a light in, right? Natural question. She said several times, nobody was ever out there. There was no light shining in. And on one night, she even went so far as to try to recreate the phenomenon, where she had a couple friends come over with lasers, and they stood out in her backyard and shined the lasers through the window onto that wall of the bedroom. And she said what they did didn't even come close to what she had experienced. So that was on that wall. On the opposite wall, that's where she would see these white orbs. White orb would just float along the back wall and just dissipate. Sometimes it was white, turn green. Sometimes it was white, turn blue, then back to white. So there was that going on. Now, the noises in her attic. These noises were so loud that she was able to record them. And she let me listen. And I heard two different things. I heard, it sounded like somebody was dragging something across the floor of the attic, but also one of the noises was loud and rhythmic. And she thought she might have a woodpecker living up there. Either way, you know, she thought there might be vermin living up there of some sort. Because of all the citrus trees we have in the area, there are roof rats. So she had somebody come out and inspect her attic. And there was nothing up there at all. Not even rodent droppings. Okay, so we had that. Now, she took me into, it was a suite. A couple double doors led into the bath area. Up front was the sinks and the vanity. To one side was a shower stall. The other side was a step-in whirlpool tub. And to the very left, there was a little room with a commode in it, with a toilet in it. And she says, in there, and only in there, sometimes she hears little girls giggling in the living room. Okay? And other times she hears what sounds like, she said it sounded like a rope brushing against the wall, but it was very rhythmic. It reminded her of somebody playing jump rope. And on one occasion, when she heard the girls giggling, she stepped out of that little room and was walking into the living room to try to pinpoint where the noise was coming from exactly, or if she could see something. But as soon as she stepped out of the room, she couldn't hear the noise anymore. Okay? Now, what else? Oh, that toilet. She said the toilet runs intermittently. No reason. Sometimes it runs, sometimes it doesn't. She had plumbers come out twice to make sure it wasn't broken. And it got so annoying that she replaced the toilet altogether. And the new one still runs intermittently, like the old one. Okay, what else? So back into the bedroom area. Now there's two double doors that lead into the bedroom from the hallway. And she keeps those closed at night when she's sleeping. But there's a gap of about an inch underneath the doors. She said on 2 occasions, she saw a light shining through underneath. And the words she used, it looked like a bright green alien looking light. Those are the words she used. Shining in underneath, like there's a bright light source on the other side of the door. Okay. Also, in the far corner of the room, on one occasion, she said she saw a gray kind of cloud nebulous thing form, and it hung out there for about 20 minutes and then it just went away. It never formed into anything. Also, footsteps in the hallway out in front of her bedroom. And on 2 occasions, she said she felt like she was pinned down to the bed. She was paralyzed and couldn't move. And that was it. Oh, and also she was having terrible stomach pains. Okay, and to the point where she called a specialist and was going to made an appointment to see a specialist a week out. So friends, I had never heard of all this going on in one place. Okay, first, the red laser light that turns into a rose or a speedometer, what have you. Plus, the white orbs. Plus, the noises in the attic. Plus, the girls giggling in that one room. Plus, the rope noise against the wall in that little room where the toilet is. Plus, the green alien looking light. Plus, footsteps in the hallway. Plus, the feeling being pinned down to the bed and paralyzed. Plus, the demonic attachment crawling around on her bed and under her bed. Guys, that's a lot. Okay, that's a lot to be going on in one place. And when there's that much of different kinds of activity happening in one location, that means that there's a portal. She has a portal in her house. A doorway to another dimension that's allowing all this different kind of activity to come through. Okay? Whew. Like I said, that's a lot. So, what do? Got her on the table. I did the shamanic healing session. And then she left for about an hour and I did the house cleansing. And when she came back, sat down, we talked for a little bit more. And before I left her with some holy water and some prayers to say, and also a Saint Benedict medal. Saint Benedict was the patron saint of, well, demon slayers. Okay. And I told her, see, I didn't want to BS her. I told her that it's been my experience that in situations like this with an attachment, it's not always one and done. Okay. I said it's been my experience that sometimes there'll be some peace for a time, a short time, and then the activity will begin again. And sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. And so, yeah, I didn't want to mislead her at all. So I go on my way, and we talk about 4 days later. And she told me that for the first 2 days, she slept 11 hours each night. There was nothing crawling around her bed, no paranormal activity, nothing. But it was the third night. The thing started crawling around on her bed again. And this was the fourth night. So, and I asked her, did you say the prayers? Did you sprinkle around the holy water? She said she didn't. She was too afraid. And I said, you know, this thing, their biggest weapon against us is fear. Do your best to breathe through the fear, sit up in bed and say those prayers of banishment and protection. They will help. But either way, made another appointment. I came out about a week later, and I did everything again. Everything again. The shamanic healing session and the house cleansing. And when I left her again, I emphasized the fact, I said, you are not without power in this situation. You're not. Say these prayers. They will help. Sprinkle around some more holy water. It will help. It will help. So I went on my way, and we touched base. It was about a week and a half later. And let me tell you, she was a different person. Because before she was sad, and she was depressed, and she was afraid. And she was happy, and she was excited. Because although the activity didn't end completely, she said eventually she started to feel the footsteps again on her bed. But she said they were much, much lighter. And something else different she did, she said she sat up in bed, threw around some more holy water, and said those prayers. And every time she did that, the activity would stop between 5 and 10 minutes. Whereas before, it would continue for over 30, 45. So that was good. She was empowered. And she did something about it. And also, I asked her about her stomach pains. And she said she forgot about them altogether, which was good. Because sometimes these demonic attachments, they can make us sick. Okay, they can make us sick. They can do a lot of things. They can make us sick. And I helped one guy a couple years ago. He was a plumber. And his thing was had so much power on it. He'd be driving his truck around town, and the thing would grab him in his private parts to make him try to cause an accident. Or when he's climbing up and down the ladder, it would grab him by the ankle. And he'd fall off the ladder and hurt himself. But this one was much more subdued. It couldn't do anything like that. All it could do was scare her. And that was it. That was it. She was good. She was good to go. And that's been months and months since I've talked to her. And no news is good news, okay? So guys, if you or somebody you know is having any sort of experiences like this, please don't hesitate to reach out, okay? Consultations are always on me, right? No big deal. And also one last thing. What was that? Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. You are loved, okay? Walk in peace, guys. Till next time. See ya.